A perfectly executed intentional miss, a miracle tip, a three-pointer that somehow, some way, forced overtime. This wasn't just dramatic, it was one of the wildest finishes in Nebraska high school boys basketball history. This is a Nebraska high school classic. Welcome back to Nebraska High School Classics. I'm Larry Putney. We'll get ready to relive one of the most unbelievable finishes you will ever see. In the 2012 Class D2 final, Giltner trailed by 3 with 1.9 seconds left when Jake Finley dropped a three-pointer at the buzzer, and that miracle shot forced overtime, and Giltner rode the momentum to a double overtime 52-41 win, finishing off a perfect 29-0 season. Joined now by my broadcast partner for that game, Andy Markowski. What was your thought? I mean, this is the sixth game of the day, right? We go to double overtime. What was your thought when that went down?
Well, you know, like you said, it was 6 of the day, and sometimes those games and day can get long, but what an unbelievable finish. You know, I remember as a broadcaster, just you don't see it, but then you start to keep it in context as a coach, and you start, you know, in your mind working through the different scenarios that played out, as you mentioned. You know, down 3. They were actually down 4,
right?
And Howells fouled, and then missed the first free throw, made the second. Yep. You know, took a timeout. You know, devised a strategy. So, you know, as the coach in me, you know, you're playing out, you know, really unique strategies that, you know, to be honest, both teams probably hadn't covered during the season, but that play stands out to me, and it's something that, you know, unbelievable finish for Giltner, and obviously very heartbreaking for Al.
I went back and looked at the broadcast the other night, and in the open of the broadcast, you said this is going to come down to which big man can be more dominant. And Drew Ott, the future Iowa football recruit, had 21 points, and he was dominant. They ended up winning. So, hey, great analysis.
Well, yeah, sometimes you guess and get it right, but really the game did play out that way. Both teams were very physical, very athletic. You know, the year before, Howells had played in the state finals in D1, you know, 26-2. And if you look at the score, the final score was really not indicative of how competitive it was, just because of Ott's physicality. Ended up, you know, fouling out a lot of the front line, and then the free throws in that second overtime made it look like, you know, maybe the game got away, but it was really a tight basketball game, and it was fun for me to go back and watch the Devaney Center. You know, it's been a while since I've seen a game at Devaney. You know, with the most recent being at PBA. But yeah, that end of the game scenario, it's you know, I've never seen it again, and it's something that I think if you want to put it on in a coaching clinic, there's a ton to learn, because you know, being down 3 would have made more sense to kind of flank both shooters. You know, being down only 2, maybe you keep 4 rebounders in. There was just a ton of things to think about, analyze, and then with 2 seconds, just the freak of nature of where the ball missed, to be able to bat it out to the one open shooter, and then be able to make the shot. And I think I said that at the time of the broadcast. You know, statistically, I think it's in the 60%. But normally the team that hits the tying shot, whether it be a 2 or a 3, carries that momentum into overtime and tends to win. But give Howells credit, they fought back and forced another overtime before, you know, Giltner was able to just you know, apply their physicality and their edge on the front line, and Ott did a great job of finishing that game.
As boring as it was in the first half, because it was not a high-scoring game in that first half, right? What changed in the second half for both teams that they started to open it up?
Yeah, you know, to that point, I think they each scored 16 in the fourth quarter, looking at the box score, and I think it was a little bit of comfortability. Looking at the first half, both teams were kind of not guarding, you know, the high-low and really trying to give help into Ott. And then as the game moved on, foul trouble and just adjustments, being able to open the post up a little bit. You know, Giltner made some threes, which then gave, you know, Ott a little bit more space inside. But, you know, as the game went on, offense improved, and then, you know, what a dramatic finish to get to overtime.
Yeah, the intentional miss, kicked it out, the three-pointer, the double overtime. It did make for, you know, a Nebraska High School Classic. Andy, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Larry.
It was the final game of a long day, 6 state championships. Giltner and Howells, two teams that are really not fond of each other, because Giltner had their season ended the last 2 years by Howells in football. There was a little Well, very familiar, two teams familiar with each other, and the Bobcats out to the quick lead, 12-10 after that drive by Mitch Bellina. Then off the rebound, Ott with the jump shot. Other end, drive by Gooch, and Gooch with the foul and an opportunity for the three-point play. Gooch again with the three-pointer. That tied it at 21. We're already in the second half. Very low-scoring first half. 21-21 as we move now to the fourth quarter. You see the score, Howell's up by one, and this was back and forth late. The drive, and a big shot there. Kicks it out, three-pointer on the way by Hastings, who knocks it down. Fourth quarter, 1.9 seconds left. Howell's up by three. Hastings purposely with the brick. Three on the way at the buzzer. Got it. They would review it. They said it was good, inconclusive, and the game is tied, and we're going to the first overtime where Hastings gets the layup here. 39-37. Ethan Kreitz with a big miss there to end. And now we're in our second overtime. Giltner on top 42-41, and this is where Giltner really starts to pull away. They go on to win it 52-41, a double overtime state championship. It was a buzzer beater for the ages. Giltner's double overtime win remains one of the wildest finishes in Nebraska history. You want more unforgettable drama? Subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out another classic in our series, Nebraska High School Classics. Thanks for watching.